Good day or good evening, whatever space time it is that you're watching this video. What is up, everyone? I wasn't planning on recording right now, but Spirit insisted. And so I was like, well, whatever, Spirit, I'll go ahead and jump on and see what's happening with the collective. I've been sitting here contemplating this interaction that I had with a ghost today while I was minding my own business. And an object flew across the room once everybody left the room. And my mind actually went to how grateful I was that the earthbound spirit decided to utilize their energy to blatantly let me know that it was there. Even though I could already kind of telepathically tell that it was there. I still appreciate the energy that was spent on it. I don't know why I'm mentioning that right now. Let's go ahead and tap in and see. We've got a paradox shift going on within the collective. And interdimensional travel. That's an awesome place to start. And on the bottom of the deck, we have supernatural abilities. So the fact that I just randomly, not so randomly, started talking about my encounter with a ghost today, I feel like I'm talking to someone in the collective currently who has very similar abilities. This may have been something that kind of came online for you and it became a paradox shift. You know, it shifted the way you see the world around you and the way that you interact. Because you know that there is interdimensional beings everywhere. And this is something that I feel like you have experienced, especially recently, and in an undeniable way, but also in a way that is kind of unexplainable to, you know, your buddy at work or whatever. You can't just walk up to like a normie, as I call them, and start talking to them about stuff like that because it'll freak them out, right? And they also won't understand either. They're not at a like conscious level in order to completely comprehend what you were saying. Much like me, where I know here on this channel, if I mention my interaction with a ghost, I'm not going to be looked at like I'm a weirdo, and if I am, I don't really care. But I know that this kind of audience will be more accepting of it. And so, I feel like that is where this person within the collective is at currently as well. They are learning how to travel interdimensionally themselves as well. All of the dimensions exist here on this planet, right? And in order to travel to them, you have to either raise your consciousness or lower it a little bit. Each one has a different dimensional field to it. I guess where I was going with that is you don't necessarily need to physically travel in order to reach other dimensions of reality. So while you might be just kind of sitting and chilling at a coffee shop, for all everybody else knows, you are completely off in another dimension, you know, speaking to some kind of being in that dimension, all the while physically sitting on a stool sipping a coffee, right? Very cool. So we've got a paradox shift, we've got supernatural abilities, interdimensional travel. I went ahead and reached for my shamanic wisdom cards because I felt like they were being called into this with these cards coming out. What do we have here? We've got Pleiades and 7-star sisters. You know, they like to come out here a lot. They do. You might feel very connected to the Pleiadians. You might have had recent Pleiadian communication. Wow, did you see that spark come off that candle right now? Can't deny that when Hathors and the Venusians show up right as I pulled that card. That was fucking cool. Thank you, Spirit. fire. Something's popping off. Something is popping off. Hathors and Venusians coming out. And then we have Ascension on the bottom of the deck, which I think is pretty badass after that candle just flicked a flame up, a spark, you know, like the spark is flying, it's taking off, it's ascending. So clearly there are things that are going on within your energy field at this time that are shifting the paradox, they're shifting the paradigm, they're making you ascend into dimensions that are much higher than the 3D. Let's just put it that way. Higher than you've ever gone before is what I heard after that. But there is this energy that tells me that no matter how high you can get, you can also dip down real low too and not even be affected, you know? And I always feel that kind of vibration when Hathor presents herself too, because she also has that Sekhmet side, right? So that's kind of where I was going with that. That there is love, and then there is tough love as well. You could go both ways. Now, the more I'm feeling into this energy and these cards that have presented themselves to me at this time, Spirit is speaking of somebody who has been connecting with and communicating with the Pleiades, the Pleiadians, to be specific. And you might also resonate with being a Hathor or a Venusian starseed. And you are working with the Pleiadians and doing this sort of interdimensional travel. There's something about being pliable, and I heard that when I looked down at the supernatural abilities card. There's something about being pliable. And I'm seeing like someone almost like being able to, it's hard to explain. Like I can see their arm, but it's like, it's slowly turning into something that's super flexible. Like, I can't explain it. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe kind of like, for lack of a better term, like Gumby. Like, if you know who Gumby is, the old character Gumby. If you don't, look it up, because that's hard to explain too. But there's something here about being pliable, being able to like slip through the cracks, right? Because I'm being shown, like, cracks, like, under the doorways, or, like, thin cracks in walls, and being able to, like, meld yourself through them to get to the other side. So that might be also speaking of the interdimensional travel. Maybe that's how you envision yourself, you know, making the moves to travel interdimensionally. This is very interesting. There is definitely something here about dancing as well. The depiction of the seven sisters dancing in the sky. The fact that Hathor herself represents, you know, like music and dance. And I also love the fact, once again, that that candle sparked when that came out, because she is known to present herself in a golden coach, so to speak. The mistress of the skies. You, much like the Hathors or the Venusians, are able to transform dark, cold, desolate energy, like hard, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like turning a tough exterior into something that is pliable. There we go. You're able to do this kind of energy work for people. This may be why I hit on a little bit of the fact that you're able to go into the lower realms as well and not even really be affected by it But it's almost like it's kind of a requirement in order to do the works that you do. Taking the toughest of the toughest and leading them to their ascension processes as well. You could be around like the toughest person who is hard to crack, you know what I mean? And at the end of you being around them, they too start feeling the warmth and the joy that you bring with your auric field, that you bring through interdimensionally. And this is a type of supernatural ability that literally comes natural to you. This is something that you have always done. But there's something that happened recently to shift even your own paradigm. It was something that happened that made things so tangible for you, so undeniable in what you are doing here and what your abilities are. It's almost feeling like an aha moment, coming into a complete understanding of how the mechanisms work, which astral buttons, so to speak, to push in order to get like the sweet spot where you can crack the toughest shell. And that's where that energy of Sekhmet is coming from as well, that destructive energy, because that shell needs to be cracked after all, right? And so that process calls for a little bit of tension, a little bit of destruction. And that's why you're able to kind of flip the coin back and forth between the two energies until you get to just the right frequency in order to become the paradigm shift, the paradox shift for other people around you, which then starts to accelerate the ascension process here on this planet. That's freaking amazing. You're badass. Thank you for doing that. I picked up the deck once again in my hand, and I sat here for a moment in silence. I cut all that out because I know that takes a lot of time up, and I don't want to take your lovely people's time up here. But I had asked Spirit, what else? What else, Spirit? I feel like there is something else that needs to be brought through this message right now. Because there's all this like badassery vibes here going on, but there is a reason why Spirit is bringing this energy to the table. And then my eye went down to the bottom of the deck, and it says etheric implants, and underneath that, cleansing external energies. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. And once these, there is a cleansing that needs to happen. Let's just go there right now. This is why I was feeling an urgency to get on here. Because while you are doing all of this, you know, interdimensional travel, you're coming into your supernatural abilities, there's paradigm shifts going on, your guides want to bring your attention to these little things called etheric implants. And they want you to do work, because there is implants that are needing to be cleansed from your external energies, like your auric field. And if you are not aware of how to do it, it's super easy to find information out about it. You can go into meditation and meet up with the Pleiadians, for instance, if you've been in contact. And they can lead you to sources in the astrals, in the interdimensional spaces. And all you would need to do is meditate on the removal of it, You don't necessarily need to know where it's at or who put it there or why it's there. It's just bringing your focus to a cleansing energy and set the intentions of having these kinds of implants removed. I'm also hearing that some of the implants that are there were there because of keeping you safe until you reached a certain point in your own ascension process. And now that you have reached this point, they're no longer needed, but they had to be brought to your attention because you have to be the one to remove them. So that is the imperative reason behind Spirit convincing me to go ahead and flip on the record button right now. This is something that, not all of them is what they're saying. There are some that were inadvertently placed, and they're not giving me any information on it. They're just saying they need to all be removed at this point, especially the ones that were placed in order to keep you safe until you reached a point of ascension yourself. It's kind of like they're referring to it as taking off the training wheels. If that makes sense, it's time to take the training wheels off, is what they're saying, in order for this to happen. There's some more DNA activations that want to occur for you, but they are being blocked right now because of the implants, is what they're saying. And you can also utilize crystals to help you in the removal process as well. And of course, the angels, you can help. You can bring in the angels for help as well. And then we have Pleiadians, literally, again, right underneath that. So, angels, Pleiadians, they want to work with you on this, in this regard, in cleansing these out of your energetic field. And they said that they will guide you to what crystals to use for this as well. And they will show you where they need to be placed upon your body during meditation, is what they're saying. Once this occurs, they are saying that there will be a period of time of recovery from this, but it will be quick. But once the recovery from the removal of these happens, your DNA activations are going to start kicking in. And now they're referring to the implants that were placed for your safety. They were like spacers almost. This is very specific. I do apologize. But, well, I shouldn't apologize, I guess. But they're like spacers, they're saying. They were holding space for something. And so that's why they now need to be removed, because that something is ready to be activated, is what they're saying. Once again, I know that's very specific, but I feel like that is the root of why we are here right now. Especially because now that I have said all that, I feel the energy lifting, and I'm feeling relief myself. Like the itch is gone, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one here. I thank everyone who made it this far in the video, even though it was very specific. I truly appreciate each and every one of you here on Spirit and Sarai from the bottom of my own heart. Until next time, I love you. Bye.